are and non-intelligent as we believe they are, and profile them in order to understand. Now here we are in a minefield. Here we are in a minefield, and I don't have a solution here. And the question is whether the importance of knowing these genes is more important than the privacy. Here we are going back to the DNA genome and classifying people now as non-intelligent than genetically, telling them, guys, that's it. It's in your genes. Don't forget of even doing something in your lives. Forget about doing something in your lives. I mean, so here, this is already a minefield. I mean, whenever it comes to intelligence, to attributes, to nations, to layers in population, you know, the blacks in America versus the whites that they claimed all the years of discrimination, and so on, colored in other countries, we are already in very touchy field, whether at all we want to go to this examination. Let's say that I do want to do it. Okay, let's say that the human genome will be there tomorrow. And I'll take awfully intelligent people. And on the other hand, I take people that are not sick but are marginal. And I'll sequence them and I'll come out with the data. I can guarantee you, and I don't have a magic solution for it, that authorities, and again, this must be done with authorities and with consultation, will have very difficult time to approve even the experiment. Not to carry it out, to approve the experiment. Because such experiment will have unbelievable social implications. Because again, think about it. Okay, let's say that we'll do the experiment, and now we'll have genes A to K, let's say 20 genes that needs to be at a certain sequence in order that people will have IQ of 120 above. But if they don't have this, or they have other mutations, these people will be 80 IQ and below. I mean, marginal as far as we accept. Tomorrow, this information will be open, and women, as we said, will want to have intelligent babies. So they will have a pregnancy, and then they will take an example of their amniotic fluid, and they will see that the kid is 99, and they say, no, I don't want a kid of 99. Let's eliminate it. And then another woman will say, no, I don't want a kid of 110. This is not too smart for me. I want 135 and above. I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, what will be the limit? I mean, who will tell what intelligent is intelligent and what intelligent is? It will be in the eyes of the beholder. So even if the experiment will be approved, it will be extremely difficult. So actually your question took me back to the second part of my talk, and that's the bioethical. But yes, intelligence is clearly imprinted partially, but there are many evidences for that. But also it has a very heavy environmental factor in it as well. So it's a very good question. It's you enter directly the minefield.
You mentioned earlier that, like, if your susceptibility to disease is also based on environmental factors and as well as genetic, your gene sequence or anything like that. And once we're able to determine our gene sequence or DNA sequence from the Human Genome Project, how would you suggest that we would be able to actually accurately calculate the probability of how susceptible we are to disease when we can't actually measure our environmental factors?
Actually, if you want the whole picture, the diseases, if you're now looking really at physical diseases, they have three factors in it. They have genetics, that so far we have no control. They have environment, that we try to control. Like, you know, the world is trying now to be greener. I mean, we are going towards cleaner world, because we managed to destroy this planet within less than 50 years. I mean, it was a wonderful place in the 19th century, and we completely destroyed it because of the industry and pollution and the population. I mean, the planet just cannot hold such a population. And again, the population is the result of science and technology. So on one hand, because of science and technology, lifespan almost doubled just in the 20th century because of antibiotics and medicine and improvement in lifestyle and so on and so forth. But on the other hand, this doubling with all the industry and so on, polluted, and we are using all the resources, and so we are tilting the balance back towards destruction. So diseases are genetic, Diseases are environment, pollution, and diseases are behavior. So the behavioral component is also very important. Think about eating habits. There are people that are eating themselves to death. They are becoming obese and they develop diabetes and they develop heart attacks and high cholesterol and so on. They eat 20 eggs for breakfast and I don't know what, and they drink 5 liters of alcohol in the evening just as an appetizer, and I don't know what, and they kill their liver, and so it's behavior, genetics, and environment. Now, none of them is controllable. You can tell me that I control my behavior, forget about it. I mean, think about smokers. I mean, can they stop smoking? Probably they can do it. But, I mean, heavy smoking, it's very difficult. I mean, even behavior, that is something that is just between me and myself, nothing else. People cannot control their behavior. They cannot control their behavior, period. Eating is just one aspect of behavior, one of numerous aspects of behavior. Violence, anything, you know, our behavior is big. So, I think that by behavior we can do a lot to diseases. Not to really genetic ones, we cannot do much to Alzheimer's, but to heart attacks, to cancer, to many diseases of the Western civilization, we can control them a lot by behavior. And by environment. The environment is not completely in our own hands. And you see, it's also gradual. If you think about these parameters, genetics, environment, and behavior, they're also going from the easy to the most difficult as far as control is concerned. Behavior is the easiest to control, though you realize how difficult it is. Environment is harder to control because it's not only me, it's my neighbor, and my city, and my government, and the resources, and so on. And genetics, what can I do? That's I got from my mother, and my father. I cannot do much. But genetics is also promising because we shall be able to manipulate it. So if we shall discover in the human genome, personal human genome, we shall discover susceptible genes, then we shall be able to manipulate them by replacing them. And the replacement technology is there already. It has some flaws in it because the vectors are viral and it causes cancer, but it's all technical. The scientists will overcome it. We shall be able to replace bad genes with good ones. And this will come. But again, I'm saying it as one superficial sentence. The minefield there is the minefield that I mentioned already, that your question related to, and my talk related to. It won't be easy because, again, people will like to exchange genes for blue eyes and for intelligence and for this and for that, and it will become like a drug, like a pharmacy. You will walk into the pharmacy and you will choose on the shelf a set of genes, and, well, that's obviously the 22nd century dream, but in principle, yeah, it's true. We shall be able to manipulate it, but it won't be that easy ethically, and we'll have to change to think of all the implications. Don't forget that part of the beauty of the world nowadays that unfortunately is being erased is our diversity as people. Not only within a nation, but mostly among nations. What's so nice about traveling the world? Once you cross the border, you hear different language, you see different eyes, different colors, different architecture, different traditions, different histories, the diversity. If everybody would like, if we make we shall imprint people, and you know, the Western civilization is going towards it. Think about America. In many ways, as much as I admire America, it's the country of McDonald's. It's a very boring place in many ways because it's flat. It's flat in many ways because people want to be the same. It's so well developed that everybody wants their son or daughter to be a Harvard graduate, and everybody wants their son to be a successful high-tech or biotech something. And the country, the communication is flat because read the wonderful book of Thomas Friedman, one of the most important journalists of our days. This is a good one to bring to bridges. Tom Friedman. The world is flat. How we are flatten our world, and I think that with attempting to be achieving people, we are at the same time erasing historical, cultural, religious borders, and we are flattening ourselves in many ways. So we have to think about it globally, but that's again an extension of this genetic manipulation and the desire to be blonde, blue-eyed, 130 IQ, liberal, you know, the ideal of the Western world. I'm not sure about it.
According to what I've read, ubiquitin-mediated protein degradation concerns DNA expression and repair. My question is whether you have made any discoveries or whether there are any applications of ubiquitin-mediated processes and the correction or repair of the genetic predispositions of diseases.
Well, the question relates to my own work. No, we are not working on DNA repair. The ubiquitin system that we discovered that I didn't go into touches on basically every aspect of cellular life. I mean, it has 2,000 components. The ubiquitin system constitutes 10% of the human genome. 10% of the output of the human genome is the system that we discovered. Just shows you how much is to be discovered, that until the 80s, it was under the water. I mean, nobody knew what 10% of the human genome is doing at all. And among other functions, it's also involved in DNA repair. But in DNA repair, it's not a manipulation of the human genome, as I was referring to during my talk, and as many of the questions were related to. But DNA, because it's such a sensitive material, is a subject of, it's susceptible to all-time hits by outside environment. And by outside environment, I mean mostly radiation and chemicals and so on. And it's amazing, our DNA, anybody knows how many cells we have in the body? What is the number of cells that we have in the body? How many cells? Guess. 10 to something. How many? You don't know. 10 to? 15. Yeah, you're close. You're very close. It's hard to say whether it's 10 to 15, but it's 10 to 13. So you are by 2 orders higher. 10 to 13. The DNA gets every day, again, it's only approximation. About cells, the number is more or less accurate. The DNA gets every day 10 to the 18 hits on its structure. That means that every cell gets daily 10 to the 5 hits per day. 10 to the 5, 100,000 hits on every cell DNA. Now, think that some of the cells don't have DNA at all, like red blood cells. So on the average, the other cells take the burden. So cells get 1 million hits per day, each cell. Each of them is potentially cancerous. Each of them is potentially mutational. Think about germ cells, about ovaries and sperm cells. And all that is being repaired, or most of it is being repaired, by a mechanism in which the ubiquitin system takes part. But so the ubiquitin system is in part responsible not for manipulating the gene, but I would say, you know, in keeping our cells tidy. So it's a system that cleans up either the proteins that are malfunctioning or repairs the DNA that got these numerous hits per day. So it's basically it's a nice quality control, garbaging, cleaning system that takes care that along, think about the human body. It's not only the human body, the ubiquitin system is ubiquitous. That's the name implies. It's also in plants and in yeast and in fish and in all the known organisms. But think about the human body as a paradigm, about its complexity. We are living 70 or 80 years, most of us, I believe, in Western countries. And these 70 or 80 years are successive. So it's day and night, Saturdays, weekends, holidays. The heart beats 60 times a minute, every minute, doesn't matter which day of the week. And pumps, and there is not another machine in the world that is man-made, and all the machines are man-made, that even approaching from a distance the complexity and the efficiency of the human body. Think about a car. What is a car? The computer is the most primitive one. Computer lives 1 year and then dies out, 2 years, and then it's already out-fashioned. But a car, I mean, a car cannot drive even 5,000 kilometers without, I'm not talking about stopping at the gas station. We also stop at the gas station. We stop for breakfast. We stop for lunch. Think about it. These are stops at gas stations. But we are doing it online.